at the top he filled, saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks. But that young Chuck did not see his shadow, which means early spring. I got up this morning. I didn't see my shadow. Thank you for coming here today. And we're going to be starting our concert with the Fanfare for New Era by Pinkzebra, whoever Pinkzebra is. have any mad dogs, but we do have English composers he represents at today's concert. And our first piece is by a composer who, unlike many others, did not, when he was a little boy, decide that he was going to be a composer. He had no idea he was even going to write music. His name was Gordon Jacob. Grew up in a middle-class family in England. His musical abilities included the, required piano lessons that many middle-class children had in England. When World War I came along, he volunteered to serve with the England Army enlisted. But by 1917, there was a need for officers. And Private Gordon Jacob was accepted for officer training and soon became a lieutenant. In 1917, he was involved in an action when the majority of his battalion was killed, and most of the survivors were taken prisoner. Now, Gordon Jacob, since he was now an officer, was not required to do work like enlisted men. He was at a special camp for just officers. They were supposed to be jumped, so they were treated then. And at this military camp, there was a library. And in the library, there were books on compositions, which Gordon Jacob started to read. And the neutral Swedish government sent musical instruments to this camp for the purpose of the prisoners creating an orchestra. And Gordon Jacob became the conductor of this orchestra. You can actually see a picture of him and his orchestra in today's program. War ended. He went back to England and enrolled in the Royal College of Music and became a composer, a very successful composer. First piece of music we're going to play is called the William Byrd Suite. Gordon Jacob was so interested in English music that he decided that he was going to resurrect some of the music from the past. And at the Cambridge, in one of the libraries at Cambridge, in the Fitzwilliam Library, there was a collection of music from the English Renaissance and early Baroque. And he looked through this, and he was amazed by this music. And he selected some of the music by an English composer named William Byrd. And he went and took this music and originally created an orchestra version in 1923. A great English conductor, Adrian Bolt, who was a friend of his, or became a friend of his, and, write it for band. And the reason why I'm saying this is that it's going to get played more often. So, Gordon Jacob did score for band. And we're going to play parts of this for you today. So, this is music from the English Renaissance as reconfigured by a composer at the beginning of the 20th century, Gordon Jacob. The last part is a lot of fun because it's supposed to represent bells ringing like in a city like on Christmas Day or on Easter. A lot of fun. So here we go. The William Byrd Suite by former POW, then great English composer, Gordon Jacob. that represents the ringing of the bells. If you've ever seen, the Christmas carols and Scrooge with Alec, no, not Alec, the other Alistair Sid, that's right. With Alistair Sid, remember, after he wakes up and he discovers it's still Christmas in the morning, he throws open the windows and you hear all the bells of all the churches pealing in London. That's sort of what was trying to be achieved at the very end of that music. Great. Now, we're going to proceed to some music from the time, again, of World War I. And on a large warship, those World War I types of dreadnoughts and battleships and battle cruisers, the largest single open space on the ship was located at the stern. And that area was called the quarterdeck. And on the quarterdeck is where the crew would be assembled whenever they were going to be spoken to by the captain. Now, Kenneth Alford, who is not a real person, there was a real person behind him. His name was Major Frederick Ricketts. And he was the commander of the Royal Marine Band. And he wrote music under the name of Kenneth Alford because he felt that it was not proper for a conductor to be playing his own music. So he got around that by writing his music under the name of Kenneth Alford. And this march, which was dedicated to the Royal Marines and Royal Navy, is called On the Quarterdeck, which of course is that portion of the ship in the back where the crew would be brought together. And we're going to call upon our own bosun and Partridge to go ahead and pipe the band together so that we can do On the Quarterdeck. in Shakespeare, Holst actually said, "Let the sky thunder to the song of Greensleeves." By the early 1700s, the Greensleeves melody was written down, and it has continued on to this day. Very, very popular. Some of you may know it as a Christmas song, when it comes to the words of "What time is this?" But there are many, many different settings of words and many, many arrangements of the melody. And we like to play an arrangement that was put together by a very famous American composer and arranger. His name was Alfred Reed. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to perform for you Greensleeves. The original Greensleeves. And though Mitch did not personally know Holst. Coming up to the end of our first half of our program today is a suite of 4 British folk songs. The first one is not that well known, but it's a lively song called The Oak and the Ash, followed by Barb'ra Allen, which historians believe may go back to actually the 15th century. Pretty long time for a song to be around and be popular. Then, The Girl I Left Behind Me, a soldier song originally appearing in the beginning of the 18th century, and then ending up with British Grenadiers, which was actually a song that came out of an entertainment like we would call a Broadway show today in the 1730s, and came to be used and describe the British Army for many years. Our last piece of the first half, the English Suite, 4 separate songs. Let me just mention our appreciation. We're very appreciative for the village school for permitting us to use these facilities here for presenting our conference. We're thankful to the Berkeley School for printing our program. Now, years ago, the band was entirely funded by the Borough of Walden. But today, the sponsorship consists of one concert that is given during the summer. So, how do we pay for everything that happens here? Very easy. First of all, we do parades in other towns. Secondly, we do some concerts in other towns. And thirdly, many members of our audience make a donation to the band. And if you'd like to make a donation, we have a little wooden bandwagon over on the side here where you can make a donation. If you'd like to send us a check, we have some envelopes. You put the check in and mail it to us. And if you have not been to a band concert like the Waldwick Band before, and you'd like to get on our mailing list or on our email list, simply fill out one of the postcards. You can drop it in the little wooden bandwagon, or it's also addressed so that you can put a stamp on it and send it to us. Well, we need to rest up for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to be coming back with the second half of the program, and we're going to play all of the no-collar music on the second half. So, take a little rest right now. Women's room over there, men's room over there. Thank you. Good. You're still here. Opening our second part of today's program is What to the Pomp and Circumstance Marches by Edward Elgar. This is not the one they use for graduation. That's number one. But this is number 4, which has an equally wonderful melody to it. Pomp and Circumstance March number 4 by Edward Elgar. Now, something else by Elgar, entirely different. This is from the Enigma variation. This is the famous part called Nimrod. It was written for one of the people who worked for the publisher, who was Elgar's printing company. And whereas the music that you just heard, Pomp and Circumstance, part number 4, was played for the reception of King Charles III, the Nimrod that you're going to hear was played for the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. beginning of the 20th century, there wasn't much original band music available, with the exception of to the march. Most of the time, bands, including Susan, were playing transcriptions of pieces of music that had been written for either the piano or the orchestra. Now, Gustav Holst, when he was paying his way through college, was during the summer playing second trombone with a seashore band. And it was at that time that he was noticing the lack of original quality band music. And he wrote 2 pieces, but he didn't have them published until after World War I. Then after World War I, there was a reawakening of the need for good quality band music. And Holst wrote pieces, and Ray Vaughan Williams wrote pieces, and Gordon Jacobs, and you heard earlier, wrote pieces. So this is the first piece of music that Holst wrote in 1909, but didn't publish in 1935. It's called The First Suite in E flat. And for bands, this is comparable to the Beethoven Fifth Symphony. Da 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 is for the orchestra. Da, 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 is for the band. The first movement is a chaconne, and you're going to hear a melody played by the low instruments that keeps going all the way through the chaconne, except partway through when Holst turns it upside down and plays that melody upside down. In the third movement, which is the march is based upon both the right side up melody and the upside down melody. And Holst at the very end puts both together at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 movements, chaconne, intermezzo, and march, are the first suite in E flat, probably the Beethoven Fifth Symphony for the band. Well, and now you're going to get to hear the rest of Mad Dog's Englishmen. Noel Coward was a famous English actor, playwright, movie director, composer, and singer. And he had a very, very eccentric career. He was known for being one of those witty people. Indeed, he often sang Mad Dogs and Englishmen as part of a cabaret act. Now, we have a medley put together by the great Robert Russell Bennett that's going to include, among other things, of course, Mad Dogs and Englishmen go up in Noonday Sun. I'll See You Again, The Going Out, If Love Were All, and Poor Little Rich Girl, all songs composed by Robert Russell Bennett. And with Oscar season approaching, let me point out to you that Noel Coward received an honorary Oscar from the Academy in 1943 for writing, directing, and starring in a movie called In Which We Serve, which was a very important British propaganda movie of World War II. But now, let's get back to those Mad Dogs. And now, how about little Jhon Sousa? We don't usually associate Sousa with English music, but in 1930, he was asked by the Commandant of the Marine Corps to compose a piece of music for the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, which was the 23rd Regiment, the foot in the Boxer Rebellion in 1902. The U.S. Marines and the Royal Welsh Fusiliers fought side by side against common foes in the China campaign. And the Commandant wanted Sousa to commemorate this. So Sousa wrote March for the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, which he didn't like. So he wrote another one. And that's the one we're going to play for you now. Sousa's Bennett, Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Back there is playing all of course, and that's the uncle. Now, like all of you for coming, our next concert, which is on March 9th, which is the same night as the Academy Awards. By the way, the Academy Awards don't start till 8. So you'll have plenty of time to come to the Waldwick Band, have dinner, and argue about who should be best actor. So that would be our next concert of Americana music. Some of the pieces are listed in your program. We'd like to thank you all for coming. Remember, if you'd like to be on Waldwick Band mailing list, and we don't exchange our mailing list with anybody else, so you will not be getting a second band in the catalog. If you do, somebody else. We send that to you. Okay, but like to keep up to date. If you want to keep up to date a little bit more frequently, we're at www.waldwickband.org. That's where you'll find us. Now for our final piece, maybe one of the most iconic British marches of all time. How many of you ever saw the movie Bridge on the River Kwai? Virtually everybody has. Now remember, when you see the British prisoners of war being marched up to the River Kwai to build the bridge, they're whistling a march. That march is our next march. It's entitled Colonel Bogey. Once again, it was composed by Kenneth Alford, who was really Major Frederick Rickers. And he wrote this march actually during World War I, but already during World War II, it was already probably the best known piece of English music in the world. So, here we go. Oh, by the way, where does the title come from? Bogey. Well, one day, Alfred, or Ricketts, whatever you want to call him by, was on the way to the music hall to conduct a practice. And he decided to cut across the golf course. Now, as he was going across the golf course, of course, the people playing whistled at him. You know, that ee-da sort of thing that you do to try and attract somebody's attention. Well, he saw that, heard that, promptly chastised. He got to the band rehearsal room, and then it dawned upon him, that would make a wonderful idea for inclusion in a march. So that's where Colonel Bogey comes from. And here we go.